This is the Sevenoaks Panto Podcast.
Welcome to... Cool. All right. Thanks.
What is that sound, though?
That's the dimmers.
Oh.
Don't worry, these are noise cancelling.
Okay. But they cancel our noise. That would be a shame. Welcome to the brand new Sevenoaks Panto Podcast. And in this episode, my guest is the co-producer of the pantomime, among other things, Simon Cossons.
Hello.
How do you want to start this conversation? Because it could go down the route of you have been the co-producer of the show since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long road.
Very long.
A lot of that side of your job is actually quite boring. Do you want to cover that bit fast and get to the good stuff?
Is it boring?
Yes.
Okay.
So tell us about producing pantomime for
that's the
18
boring
years.
bit.
That's the boring bit.
Oh, good. Okay. Thought you meant the animations are boring.
No, that's the creative bit.
Okay, good. Yes, produced Sevenoaks Panto for how many years?
I think this is
18?
17,
17.
18.
Yes. God, what to say? I mean, so we started with Sevenoaks Panto.
Mm-hmm.
We're still doing Sevenoaks Panto. And then we sort of branched off and did a few others to varying degrees of success.
Or otherwise.
And stress.
Yeah.
And then we decided, well, let's not do this, because trying to produce 5 pantos at once just sort of watered it down a little bit. The quality control sort of diminished. You and I can't be everywhere at once.
It was miserable.
It was. Some more than others. And then we were like, hey, let's just do Sevenoaks Panto, because we both live in Sevenoaks.
What are the bits you miss about when we produced? Are there fond memories of some of those other venues when we were racing around the country?
Do you know what? When we took Weymouth,
I loved Weymouth.
I loved Weymouth. And I got to play the cow in Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yep.
I don't know why you did that to me, but you did.
You were very good.
Thank you. And the Giant. And so I had to stay in Weymouth for the whole panto run. And actually living in Weymouth, being in Weymouth, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. Great pizza place. I don't know if Weymouth wanted us.
No, it turns out not so much.
No.
But we had a lovely time.
Yeah. So anything
Anything else you miss about maybe creatively about having multiple casts, multiple shows?
do you know what? It was nice that, and I know you've talked about this with other people, but it is a big part of what we do, is like having a group of people that we like working with, that we know are good, we know they're going to do the job, we don't have to worry about that, and being able to have that big family and put all our favourite people in multiple venues was great. Whereas obviously what we do now is like, you know, we'll get to a point in this sort of casting where we're like, it'd be really good to have Rosie Glossop, but never mind.
Yeah, we just haven't got the jobs.
Yeah, next year, maybe.
Yeah. We have a smaller family now and we draw on them more often, and I think I probably prefer that. But ultimately, I think the issue for us is there weren't enough really good people to make sure that every single show was the standard that we wanted.
Yeah.
And maybe our standards were a bit too high.
Yeah, and back then we were booking, you know, celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
I did air quotes. For
Some of them
those
really were
listening.
celebrities.
And that was always a surprise. You know,
Yeah.
you'd book someone from a boy band or a girl band, and you'd assume they could sing.
Yeah. And
Wasn't
sometimes they could.
guaranteed. Sometimes they could.
That's another big change when we decided to only do Sevenoaks Panto and pursue other projects personally. We also decided no more celebrity bookings. We're just going to give really good money to really good performers.
Yeah, like people who have done like West End gigs, which is obviously, you know, then they know their industry. They know they're going to have to work hard.
Do you
they
ever
can
think,
sing, they can
maybe
dance.
we should just book a celebrity this year? Or wouldn't it be nice to have so-and-so? Or have you completely moved on? I have completely moved on from it. But
I mean, arguably, Silly Billy is our celebrity now. And yourself.
well, not me, Dame Elaine Stage.
Yes.
She's very big in Sevenoaks.
Yeah. But I think that's nice. Like Silly Billy and Dame Elaine are what people want to come and see now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So your process now of being the producer, the boring stuff that you do, because actually during the run you have to take a lot of that because I'm doing 3 shows a day in 11 costumes per show. The boring bits that you have to do.
Yeah, like make sure you don't spend too much money is my
Number
number one job. And yeah, just anything that is anywhere else in this building that has to be dealt with, you know, front of house or backstage and stuff like that, stuff that you can't get involved in. Yeah, and obviously we collaborate on all the marketing building up to the Panto.
So the marketing, if you think back to from 2009 to now, if you were to just give us 3 bullet points of what our marketing used to be how that's changed over the years.
I mean, God, when we started, I think I don't know if you remember this, the very first thing we did in 2009 was we paraded through the town in costume with Tony, who's now the general manager of the Stag here, with him ringing a bell like a town crier, just announcing that Sevenoaks Panto was a thing in town, and literally like ye oldie times, just telling people we're in a Panto.
I have no memory of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I do remember we hired a double-decker bus, a red double-decker bus, and went on like a primary school safari.
Like
we
some
just drove around.
Film. Yeah. And then posters in windows, like delivery, like through doors, like real old
newspaper
school.
Adverts. Imagine putting adverts in newspapers. Seems crazy now.
I know. And now we're sat here doing this.
Purely, the only reason we're doing this podcast is because the most watched thing on social media is clips of podcasts, video clips of podcasts. I don't think anyone's going to listen to this podcast, but they'll watch this clip of me saying why we're making a podcast.
So meta.
We used to put up posters. Not anymore. So then it's been a huge change. But the biggest change probably for you is the year that we stopped having a traditional set and made our space, the world in which we live, out of video wall. And we talked about it. I had been banging on about it for a good 3 years before it was even affordable to do. And then one year we went for it, and that was 2018.
Yes, Dick.
Whittington.
Yeah, what a move. I mean, we'd been doing rear projection up until that point. So, some set and then a bit of a screen with some rear projection. But yeah, you're right. That was, when we did that was our 10-year anniversary.
Was the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, our 10-year anniversary, full video wall. Although I do remember for the actual first performance, the video wall just turned off and we had no video wall for the whole of that one. That was great.
Great news.
But we move on. Went full video wall. And what a thing that was.
How has it changed your relationship with the show? Because actually, creatively, apart from when we made you play the goose or the cow or something because we didn't want to pay someone to do it, your relationship with the show has completely changed because physically, you make the biggest contribution to the show.
Yeah.
So your relationship must have changed.
Oh, completely. 100%. I mean, I was always the one, at least painting the wood. So I've always been sort of involved in the sort of the set and the scenic and how that all works.
A lot of glitter.
A lot of glitter in a cold barn in Canterbury. I remember it well. But yeah, now animating the show is, I can't lie, I do love it. Like I love having that sort of stamp on the show, being able to create the world that we live in, the world that you've imagined, that I then imagine. And yeah, it's just, I don't know how to describe it really. It's it's exciting.
Do you want to talk about the process of how, like from when we first decide that it's going to be Robin Hood this year, what the feel of that should, like just the conversations that we have briefly on
absolutely.
your process?
I mean, you and I obviously have known each other for a very long time.
Don't say the number.
Okay. And we kind of understand, I think, each other's sort of thought process and what we want. So, you'll tell me a title. You'll be like, right, we're doing Robin Hood. And then we will very quickly, I think, lock into what's Robin Hood going to look like. And I think we flip-flopped on it a little bit, actually, for this year. I think.
Is it a cartoon? Is it Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I think we were a bit like, let's go Gothic and medieval and go Game of Thrones with it. But actually, we've 180'd on that a bit, haven't we? And we're like, oh, no, actually, let's go brighter. Let's go more sort of magical and cartoony with it. And so that's where it begins. And that was last Panto. That was during Aladdin. And then I guess, for me, the process is waiting for you to imagine what you want to do with it
and write it
and then we go from there.
So once I've written it, you read the script,
scan it,
skim it, and then we sit down and have a really detailed conversation. What are the things that you're looking for? What are the questions you ask? What are the suggestions you put in?
Well,
to make it real?
Some of it's obvious, I guess. Like you'll say something weird, like, "Oh, we move into mirror world," and I ask you, "What is mirror world?" that was Snow White. And then you'll sort of loosely describe what you have in your head, and then I don't understand it, and then I'll go away and then I'll do something and show it to you, and then slowly we get there.
Yep.
Or sometimes you'll throw a 15-minute medley at me and I'll say, Jamie, that's too much medley.
Yes.
And that's going to take me a month to animate. And you say, it'll be fine. It always is, which is annoying.
And what are the details that we talk about in that process? Because we're locking in decisions in the conversation I have with you in September that will impact on what costumes people can wear in December when we're in tech, because we can't make big changes fast. So what's the detail?
I don't understand the question.
You know, like colours, the time of day.
Right.
Like if there's a sunrise or a sunset, if it's raining.
There you go, you just answered the question.
Well, I was hoping you would.
So yeah, it would be like, time of day is a big one. Like, because we make sure that there's always, because I guess what's important to point out at this stage, for those that don't understand, is we obviously have no blackouts. We don't have to have any set changes. So the show is continuous. So deciding on things like time of day is really important, because actually we transition from one place to another place and it can't just switch up. Like the looks need to blend together. We need to make that journey in time and space. And like you said, it affects costumes and it will affect lighting and that kind of thing. And just, how you imagine something. Like if you imagine a beginning to be like dark and purple and red, because that's what your baddie colours are that year. Or if the fairy colours that year, like Robin Hood, presumably will be green.
So green can't be a baddie colour.
Exactly. And so, those conversations do need to happen early, because then I need to make sure that, we can't just be in like purple world for fairyland.
And then you sit in front of a computer, mostly cheating with AI, or?
No, that is heinous. This is our own pantomime we're trying to sell here.
How much AI do you use, percentage-wise?
If I had to put a number on it.
You look a bit flustered.
5%.
5?
And I'll tell you what the AI is, right? That I use is it's the textures I create, right? So I build the world in 3D. It's like using Lego, and you build the world, and then you obviously have to texturize that. So if I make a big castle turret, that would just be a grey blob until I then put a stone texture on it. And that stone texture, actually, my process has got a lot quicker to create that in AI. So I'll say to AI, create this seamless sort of cartoony Pixar-esque, stone brick that is tileable, and then I can put that seamless texture on my.
Have you seen an example of AI doing something as well as you and gone, oh wow?
No. What are you talking about?
A little bit?
Hell no. My job's safe.
There was a question mark at the end of that inflection. And then, so what's the exciting bit for you? Because you never get to see it done until it's layered on our many.
Oh yeah, I love that. It's like for
arches.
anyone else, it would be the most boring thing in the world. I sit in this auditorium with this guy called Tom, and he programs all of our QLab. He puts all my files in, the many terabytes of graphics, and he will start to map it all on the screen, work out all those transitions, the loops that need to happen, make sure it all works. And inevitably, there's about 20 things that I've done wrong. Some sparkles are just doing something rogue over there, or like the lighting just changes. But having said all that, actually seeing all of it together, the pros, the portal, the back wall, seeing the moving transitions, it is amazing. Even I'm sat there like, oh, okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Like, I did my job. Like, that's nice.
Okay, well, we're going to take a little break for our sponsor, but when we come back, we're going to learn more about what Simon does with his weird, geeky year.
It's the Sevenoaks Panto Podcast at SevenoaksPanto.com.
This podcast is brought to you by our friends from the Stag Youth Theatre.
So if you're stuck in your bedroom on your own and you've got no friends at school because you've got a horrible personality because you show off all the time, you should probably join a youth theatre.
Yeah, so go to stagyouththeatre.com.
It's the Sevenoaks Panto Podcast at SevenoaksPanto.com.
Yeah, we'll just, right? There's an order to this one. You'll climax when it climaxes.
I'd like you to stop saying that word. Welcome back to the Sevenoaks Panto Podcast, the brand new series, which probably no one is listening to, but you're all watching the clips on TikTok. Brilliant. That's marketing. So I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions which I hope you prepared the answers for. They're the same. I'm asking everybody. First of all, your standout principal performance. Which one of our various West End stars has turned it in the best over the last 5-6 years?
5 or 6 years.
So
Not
post-COVID,
ever.
not ever.
Oh, okay. I would go for Mark Goldthorpe.
The legend.
He is hilarious. He played Malden Fly, aka Flesh Creep, usually in Jack and the Beanstalk, and he was just his balance of baddie and sort of camp bad magician that was the character that you created for him was just. It was perfect.
His process was really interesting because he's done every show you can think of, but he'd never done Panto, I think I'm right in saying. And a great example of how your work enhances a show, but that the performer has to get what we do, is we did this Tina Turner medley and we made him do this weird pastiche James Bond thing that involved him doing loads of really stupid shots to the camera, which we slowed down. He had no idea what he was doing in the rehearsal room. He didn't even really give it much because he was singing as well, because he didn't understand. And then he saw the whole world put together and he said, Jamie, you've just given me this gift. I stand on the stage, I take myself seriously, and the audience cry with laughter for 2 minutes because it's hilarious. His process was incredible.
Yeah.
He is a man with a process.
Absolutely.
He's not difficult to work with, but he's difficult to work with. Next question, your favourite title or subject?
I mean, it depends on... Here's the thing, it depends on how good your script is. Because I don't necessarily care what the title is. I think, if it's a good show, it's a good show. And I thought Aladdin was really good this year. I did like Aladdin. I loved Snow White because we went dark and gothy and Tim Burton-y with it. Yeah. Which I was a fan of, whether or not audiences were, on the fence maybe. It wasn't very traditional Panto, was it?
What would you want us to do in the next, because we're here till 2030?
Well, you've talked about, and I don't know if you've abandoned this idea, but returning to Wonderland, which I did love Alice in Wonderland. I don't know, you're not sure if audiences did.
I think they did, but it turned us crazy. That
so
show
imaginative. It is mad.
And exhausting.
Yeah.
Your favourite ever song or medley in the post-COVID era?
That I've enjoyed to do as an animator. Is this about me and my job?
Yes, it can be about you.
I have to say, and Daisy stood right there and she'll know how painful this was, the medley for Snow White where we had 7 dwarfs on screen.
CGI dwarfs dancing.
Yeah, and we had to do that as motion capture. So I have a motion capture suit, this sort of it's like a swimsuit that you wear. And then my computer can sort of pick up where the body's moving. And Daisy, our choreographer, had to dance as all 7 dwarfs individually so that each dwarf had its own different
Which meant
vibe.
that the choreography had to be the same choreography that the principals were going to do in a rehearsal room 3 months later.
Yeah. And that medley, as we've already discussed, is very, very long. And
we went everywhere. Yeah. We were in the woods, we went inside a dwarf's house, and the dwarf's house turned into a club.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
What 3 things do you think make Sevenoaks Panto what it is? And not better, but different to a lot of other pantomimes?
I think it's really modern, for sure.
Yes.
I've seen other pantos. I'm not slagging off any other pantos, but I've seen some other pantos that try and obviously tap into pop culture, which is important in panto, very important. It's always been the thing. But I think we do that very well. We have we do surround ourselves with a young team as well who understand.
I'm also young.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think that is a big part of what we do well. I guess that leads onto the screens. I'm not saying it's all about me, but I do think that immersiveness that we can create.
It's incredible.
I might be wrong, but I think we were the first panto in the country to go fully animated with video walls, and so that obviously separates us, I think.
And even with the transitions from place to place, I can write completely differently, because traditionally with a pantomime you would write a front cloth scene whilst the crew are changing the set, then you would write a full stage scene, and structurally the show would have to follow that, whereas we can go anywhere at any time. We can go from Hong Kong airport to an aeroplane to a baggage reclaim hall to London Bridge if
all
we
in 5
want.
minutes and tell a whole story like that, which is amazing.
One more thing.
Do you know what? I'm sorry, this is maybe bad, but as producers, it's good. Do I even want to say this? Yes. how automated our shows become. Like, we no longer have 5 crew, like, backstage.
Yeah.
We have, one...
We don't have a deputy stage. We don't even have a stage manager.
No, we have
a tiny
one
crew.
boy who presses spacebar.
Man boy. Maybe we'll talk to him separately.
Yeah, and I think that automation actually just makes the whole thing run really efficiently.
Yeah.
I like all of our lighting is programmed into the QLab stack, and so everything, like, you press one button and a 15-minute medley, off it goes.
Yeah, I love it. You didn't mention any people or, our lovely cast or anything like that, but that's okay.
I mentioned Ollie.
Yes, head of Spacebar. What is it that keeps you coming back to Sevenoaks Panto? I mean, you own half the company, but creatively, what keeps you coming back?
Yeah, well, I don't make any money from it, so not that. I think I love that you let me do me. Like, I work for a lot of other clients. Like, I do animations throughout the year for a lot of other people. And what I love about Sevenoaks Panto is I can come here. I will spend 2 months creating these animations. It takes, roughly speaking, 2 months. And you don't really interfere with that. The first time you see most of the animations is when you're teching, when you're lighting the show, and you just accept the world I've given you. And I love that creative freedom, being able to just create my
It does
vision
come
of
from
those
having
worlds.
worked together for so long and the detail with which we have our conversations at the beginning of production. But yeah, once you've made it, you've made it.
Exactly. And I can have fun with it. I can go a little bit rogue with it. Like, it's Aladdin this year was great fun because it was modern. We did it in modern day. We did it in now Chinatown rather than ye olde fairy tale land. And that was such a challenge, How do I make an airport look panto-y and not just like Heathrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Thanks.
One thing you'd love us to do that we never have?
Well, I've said this to you for years. A Britney Spears medley. Come on. See, Daisy's cheering. She's happy.
Get out, Daisy.
Or Eminem, but that'd be weird.
We have had Eminem in the show.
Mixed in with someone else, you wouldn't give it to me, raw.
No, I would not. Okay. Yes. So something, and this does bring us on quite neatly to what you do for the rest of your year. But my question was going to be, what have you learned, having worked on Sevenoaks Panto for so long, that you apply to the rest of your creative career?
Well, I mean, Sevenoaks Panto is where I learned to animate.
Yeah.
So it actually springboarded my career. It literally did. I mean, pre-COVID, I was working largely as a kind of freelance filmmaker. I run the Stag Youth Theatre, so I sort of from youth work. But post-COVID, I have just been employed more and more as an animator.
And your work is all over the world on cruise ships.
On cruise ships, yeah, and holiday resorts. And so, yeah, actually Sevenoaks Panto fully springboarded my animation career. People saw what we were doing here. It's like, oh, what? That's different. And yeah.
And your work, because you do this kind of work all year, a lot of it is quite isolated. You're in an office staring in front of a
Right,
computer.
don't make it weird.
So where do you get your, other than the Sevenoaks Panto, where do you get your creative kicks? Because you don't even always get to see that final work.
No, I don't. But I mean,
venue.
it's still, well, you say that. It is interestingly still a people job. Like, I've just got back from Italy, where I was on a cruise ship for the last 2 weeks, creating a new show for Viking Ocean Cruises, working with a big team out there on the ship, putting the show together, making the changes as we go, watch it through tech, just watching the show and being like, oh, you know what, we need to change that. So it is actually still quite a people-orientated job. I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll just sit in front of my computer for 2 weeks, make a show, send a Dropbox link, and get paid at the end. So it's varied in that respect. But yeah,
and is that why for you Sevenoaks Panto balances that out? Because it's also a very sociable time. It's arguably our family that we get to spend that time with.
Absolutely, yeah, I love it.
It must mean a lot.
Yeah, no, watch the animations, go to the Checkers, happy days.
You want to cry? You're getting upset about, because it's our family and we love them, but we only get to spend.
No, I'm good.
The end of the.
What are you trying to do?
Just because we could do with someone crying for a clip for social media, because you're quite lonely during the year, aren't you?
I mean,
lonely times.
Okay, I see what you're doing. Do it to Ollie. You'll break Ollie.
Okay. Finally, you can ask me some questions.
Well, I've always wanted to do. Okay.
It's just the format of the podcast.
Yeah, I know, but I know everything about you, so I'm just going to pretend that I don't.
Okay. For the viewer.
Yeah.
Listener?
Jamie, tell me, here's a good one. Why did you decide to start playing Dame? No one asked you to do that. You just decided.
Nobody even requested it. To save money during 2020, that was the only reason. Because we were trying to do a socially distanced. I don't know. I'm talking to the camera. You asked me the question.
It's my camera, so you kind of are talking to me when I'm watching this in the edit. Actually.
So right now, it could be that you've got your headphones on in your tiny office when you're making this. Maybe now's the moment that you cry when you're alone in your office.
Oh.
To save money, I was like, I can put a frock on and I can do this because the Dame, someone who specialises in that role, normally gets paid quite a good wedge of money at Christmas, and it was to save money. And I've known Ant for a very long time, and we'd done touring pantos back in the day, and he was like, well, why don't we enjoy performing with each other? Why don't you play the Dame? And I love it. It's great. It's such an odd experience. Conversation for another time probably, but it's a very, very odd experience. Almost not otherworldly, but like an outer body experience. I don't really, Jamie, think that I'm particularly involved in what Dame Elaine has become. She does feel like a different person, and it's a lot of fun.
That's weird.
You're weird. Ask me another question.
Okay. Hannah had a good one.
We'll all just wait.
Here we go.
Sorry, you listen on the treadmill.
I can just cut that bit out.
Okay.
I'm editing this. Well, actually, AI is editing this.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot my question now. Here we go. What is your favourite part of the process from writing the script through to closing night?
Well, my
Favourite
process
bit?
starts before, because I actually, this is a terrible thing to say, but I sort of vaguely lose interest in the show about halfway through. So when we're on a 3-show day, by show 2, I'm not really, Dame Elaine's just doing her thing. And so I start looking at the stage and think, what would this look like if we did Robin Hood next year? And what could we do with whichever performer I'm looking at? So I'm already starting to think about next year's show during this year's show, if you see what I mean. And we've already committed to a title because the tickets go on sale. And then I think about it for a really long time, and then I pick some songs around now, May, June time as we're recording this. My worst bit, that wasn't your question, is when I actually have to sit down and write it. And sometimes I have to book like an Airbnb somewhere and just sit down and write it. It only takes 3 days.
And how much AI do you use to write that script?
I don't use any AI. I use AI actually for rhymes. I used to have a rhyming dictionary, like a hard physical dictionary. And then I used, what was it called? Rhyme Zone, I think. There was this website, again, Rhyme Zone, which I used to use. And now I use ChatGPT to come up with rhymes for the magical characters because I often talk in rhyme. My favourite bit is not that. My favourite bit is the tech. It's the hardest bit. It's the bit where my brain implodes because there's lighting, there's sound, there's costumes, there's, how I want the surround sound to be, what that light's doing. Is that costume right? Do I know what my lines are in the scene because I'm in it as well? Am I going to get that costume change? Does Simon's stuff look good on this? But the technical rehearsal process, where everything comes together for the first time, is the moment where, because I have to imagine a whole world and a show in my head and then get other people to make it physically real. So the tech is the first evidence of like, the thing I'm imagined in my head is going to be a real thing.
Yeah.
That's my favourite. Thanks for your questions.
It's all right.
And thank you for listening to / watching the brand new Sevenoaks Panto podcast. In the next episode, we're, depending on the order that you're listening to this in, we're going to have a very, very special...
You can't
special,
say who's coming next, because
in another episode that you may have already listened to,
this might be the last episode they watch, so nothing's coming next.
I don't think anyone is listening or watching this far, so it's not a problem. We're
Say
going
what
to
you
talk
like.
to the head of
Swear if you want.
Spacebar, mother.
This is the Sevenoaks Panto